The dragon is on fire, Michael Snyder reports. Once in a while, there is a moment that embodies what's going on in our society as a whole. For me, one of those moments came on Saturday night. The 45-foot-tall animatronic dragon at Disneyland erupted in flames, but most of the people at the park seemed to think that it was no big deal. The vast majority of them just went about their business as though nothing unusual was happening. Incredibly, most of those that were there seemed to think that everything was normal, even though an absolutely enormous fire was sending massive flames into the night sky. An intense fire broke out at Disneyland in Anaheim on Saturday night as packed crowds were enjoying a show at the theme park. The fire ignited on Tom Sawyer Island during the Fantasmic nighttime water and fireworks show held on the Rivers of America. Citizen video captured by parkgoers showed massive flames fully engulfing Maleficent's dragon prop on stage. The flames first ignited from the dragon's face before spreading to the rest of its body. And according to Google, Maleficent means causing harm or destruction, especially by supernatural means. And as I watched this dragon burn, I immediately thought about the current state of our country. All around us, our society is literally coming apart at the seams, and most people seem to believe that there is no cause for alarm. But if you aren't alarmed yet, what is it going to take? Just look at our economy. The dominoes are falling one after another, and even our largest and most prosperous corporations are laying off workers. Within just the past few days, Bed Bath & Beyond has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. BuzzFeed News announced it will be completely shutting down, and we have learned that Disney is going to be giving the axe to thousands of workers next week. Walt Disney Company reportedly plans to slash thousands of jobs next week. Bloomberg cited people familiar with the plans, said the company would cut about 15% of the staff in its entertainment division. The cuts will include those in TV, film, theme parks, and on corporate teams in every region where Disney operates. Meanwhile, our financial system is on fire. Already this year, we have witnessed the second and third largest bank failures in U.S. history, and Moody's just slapped 11 more banks with significant downgrades. On Friday, Moody's reinforced this challenging outlook by downgrading ratings for 11 regional lenders, including a 2-notch cut for Western Alliance, citing a deterioration in the operating environment and funding conditions for U.S. banks. Some of the immediate problems have gone away, but the reality is, with interest rates higher, the bank's business model is going to have to change, and that's going to play out over months and quarters and even years, Commonwealth Financial Network CIO Brad McMillan told Yahoo News. At the same time, crime rates continue to soar all over the nation, and it appears that a substantial portion of the population has gone completely nuts. Now, as I keep telling my readers, the thin veneer civilization that we depend upon on a daily basis is rapidly disappearing. In San Francisco, organized retail crime is so rampant that some retailers have resorted to literally locking up thousands of products. The moral foundation of our society has been rotting for years, and now it's almost totally gone. And it's such an environment that the most contentious presidential election in U.S. history, will be held in 2024. An election should be a time of great hope for the nation, but instead most people seem to be looking forward to it with dread. Many Americans are not excited about a potential rematch between President Biden and former President Trump, according to a new poll, with more respondents saying they feel exhaustion over the prospects than anything else. Well, I did read an article just yesterday saying that the Democrats are thinking of not holding any debates either. Now, between Republicans and between Democrats and also Democrats and Republicans. Now, a 38% plurality of respondents reported they felt exhaustion over the idea of a rematch, according to the Yahoo News YouGov poll. The other emotions that people said the rematch inspires are not much more positive, with 29% feeling fear, and 23% feeling sadness and fear. Most Americans don't have faith in our elections any longer, and most Americans don't have faith in our politicians any longer. Our entire system of government is on very thin ice, and that should make all of us very sad. Of course, our entire culture is on very thin ice at this point. Earlier today, I was alarmed to read that a school district in a deep red state such as Missouri is giving into pressure from the woke crowd. The Missouri School District is now making its math curriculum more gender inclusive, updating word problems and other language-based math equations with they/them pronouns. As presented in the Webster Groves School District math program evaluation last week, non-binary people would be represented in word and contextual problems via the pronouns alongside regular gendered people using he/she pronouns. When we allow the woke crowd to define the language, they win. Over in Europe, things are even worse. In certain situations, you can literally go to prison for not using someone's preferred pronouns. And while we are obsessing over pronouns, the war in Ukraine just continues to escalate. The total amount of aid that the U.S. has already given Ukraine exceeds $200 billion. But one Ukrainian official is now saying that that's not nearly enough. We're thankful to our allies for their military help, but it's not enough, they said. Ukraine needs 10 times more to finish Russian aggression this year. Thus, we call upon our partners to cross all artificial red lines and devote 1% of GDP for weapons deliveries, they said. Needless to say, most of our politicians are more than eager to keep showering the Ukrainians with more cash, and the Russians are going to keep escalating the conflict as well. We continue to creep closer and closer to a point of no return. So what happens if someone ends up crossing a line that will never be able to be uncrossed? Do we really want to fight a nuclear war over Ukraine? Once the nukes start flying, America will burn. Sadly, most Americans aren't alarmed by any of these things that I have just shared with you, but the truth is that flames have already erupted in every corner of our society, and we had better work really hard to put those fires out before it's too late. This is by Michael Snyder. About the author, he says, "My name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled End Times is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 6 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the latest updates. I have published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the most important news. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is on the Economic Collapse blog by Michael Snyder. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.